this. We're doing this now?
It's recording now.
Oh, it is recording? Okay, good. Hello! Welcome to the second to last RuPaul's Drag Race GAMbIT Magazine podcast. I just realized we are the shady ladies who can only be shady for 2 weeks. More.
Well, I mean, we'll be shady always.
Well, that's true. But in specific reference to this show, which is leaving us far too soon, I know it'll be back next year. But still, we're getting to that point where the claws have grown 3 inches. And overnight, and people be scratching each other's eyes out to get to the top.
People be busting out like Wolverine.
I know. It was like Alyssa Edwards said. She's like, I'm not trying to claw anyone's eyes out. I'm just trying to claw my way to the top. And there's lots of clawing tonight. That was rough.
It's a rough episode. And to guide you through all of the shady cattiness, your favorite shady ladies who will never throw shade your way, just around you. Yeah. I'm Mark Poupard.
I'm Samir Roy, just trying to help keep you cool in the hot summer months to come.
Do you feel the cool shade from our fans?
Because I was like, we've been tossing shit Kennedy's way all season long because, well, deservedly, yes. I would say.
And I would also say that girl can dish it and take it.
Exactly. She can take it, too. She doesn't, like, break down. But she did break down a little bit in this, a couple times in this episode. We learned some, like, really hard truths about her life and made me respect her even more than her lip sync performances have. At least that last one that she did, which was still
phenomenal.
Epic. Still, the front forward somersault into the splits on that stage. And then again on the lower stage. So good that they forgot that there was a rule that you can't even go down there. That's how good it was. Like, what the fuck?
Whatever.
No one's going to beat this. Sorry, Katya. But, like, Ginger was, like, Ginger was crying at the beginning of this episode, too. She's like, does Katya not being here, like, does not feel right? Like, it shook her, like, a little bit. And I was like, it shook me, too, girl. I'm still sad about it, even though, you know, fortunately, I got to see much of my family this weekend at a big family wedding. But that also meant I had to miss the first ever drag convention in history, RuPaul's Drag Con, where all these people were there and they all got all kinds of love, and I'm sad I missed it, but at least I had this episode, which gave me life again. I needed it.
Oh my god. I mean, I know you picked up on Ginger's sadness, but I picked up on Ginger's cattiness from the gate. I mean, I feel like Katya had been gone all of 30 seconds in that episode, and she was like, Violet. It's just like, oh my god, here we go. I haven't even, like, settled into my seat yet, and these bitches are already ready to go.
Oh, yeah. It was Better Lady Brigade in full force.
I think this is, like, that moment was when I felt Katya missing the most. And throughout the whole episode, I kind of did, because I felt like she always injected, or at least was maybe, like, the middleman between the Bitter Lady Brigade and the younger queens, and kind of was, like, the bridge between them. And now without her gone, like, I know that it's the pressure from the top 4 as well, but there was definitely a little lack of humor and way more tension now that it's just... And it came about, like...
Yeah, like that, exactly. And this is always the point at which it, like, gets... Where the real, like, the teeth and the claws come out, like we said. You know, it's like people, like, their desperation, like, all the things that inspire them to want to win, like, sort of, like, brings out the worst in their competitive side. But we really saw... I wasn't totally clear that Ginger actually was a pageant girl. I knew that Kennedy was. But I didn't know, because I know that Ginger had done mostly theater and stuff. And actually, I read an interesting thing from the review of last week's episode, and it was in the Onion AV Club, and they were saying, like, you know, like, they were talking about how they didn't really appreciate... They thought that Ginger was playing the game even more last week because she's like, oh, I'm not a sewer, and I don't dance. And they're like, a simple Google search, as the Onion AV Club said, was like, simple Google search showed that you have done choreography in a show, that you have done costumes for shows. There's some experience there, like you are overplaying your lack of skill in these areas to make it seem like there's more of a progression.
I brought this up last week too. I straight up said I didn't fucking buy it because I was watching her goddamn do it.
Yeah, like, right, I'm like, that dress looked pretty amazing. Like, I mean, even though, like, we found out that, like, in season 6, like, Ben de la Creme was like, well, I'm not really a sewer, but Ben de la Creme was determined and knew how to, like, work to make something look amazing. And her outfits looked brilliant. They were, I mean, even though she got a lot of flack for not being diverse enough or whatever bullshit it was, because nobody really agreed with the judges on Bend to the Crime last season. She was like the Pandora box again. It was like, you're the comedy queen. For some reason, we're going to nitpick your outfits more than anyone else. But she was not a sewer and made amazing looking outfits. Ginger, not a sewer, quote unquote, not a sewer, but still made amazing looking outfits, and of course also bought some amazing looking outfits too. But we know she knows how to make an outfit. The only failure was really that conjoined queens challenge, where she, like, let herself be defeated, and that's what was pissing everyone off. Like, we know you can do all of this. Would you stop pretending like you can't to, like, feel sorry for yourself? Just stop it. And she kind of had a hard time coming back from the shadiness this episode, really, because, you know, honestly, this happens every season. There's always, like, a queen who's like, oh, I don't want to say anything negative about my fellow contestants. I think we're sisters. We should be like that. And there's always the contestant who's like, well, it's competition, and the challenge was for me to say, well, I'm better than you. And so I said, well, I'm better than you. But as Pearl and Violet, the younger ones, they were the ones who were really like, well, you don't have to say it the way you said it.
Not at all. Because, I mean, honestly, that really, I didn't hear that question. I didn't hear Ru say, throw everybody else that's on the stage besides you under the bus.
He just said, tell me why you and not the other queens should win, which left it open to interpretation to them. So maybe it was a little test.
And this is also my biggest problem with this entire episode, was that Ginger and Kennedy, and when I say that, I mean, like, just with how everything ended up shaking out, which is Ginger and Kennedy, preach, bitch was so fucking shady to Pearl and Violet. And I understand to a certain extent that is the nature of the game. But they bitched about them not being professionals, not having their shit together. But when it came right down to it on that runway, Kennedy and Ginger were the unprofessional ones. Violet and Pearl were exactly how you're supposed to answer that question. You do not need to drag down others in order to lift up yourself. Focus on all the things that you do well and don't talk about other people. I thought I was absolutely floored at how low blow and how immature Ginger and Kennedy sounded. They sounded like insecure little queens. Like, this was not their first fucking competition. This must have been their first, because they were acting so. I was honestly just, I was ready to eliminate the both of them just because of the way that they spoke. You want to fucking preach about being professional? That's not professional.
And the funny thing is that if
you
you're
don't think
a
that the judges see all of this? They already know all of the things that you're saying. You don't need to fucking say that. And anything that you say about, and if anything that you say about your fellow contestants, it doesn't matter anyway. And Ginger brings this up in Untucked. It's ultimately up to Ru. So it doesn't matter if you throw someone under the bus or not. It shows how well you can or cannot hold yourself in a competition. And for two pageant girls, they fucking blew it for me. It was just really petty and sad and not funny. And it was not the good kind of shade that I love. I didn't like it. And I didn't feel, with Kennedy, I really do feel like this is what she's been saying all season long. And she just put it all in one big long sentence. But with Ginger, there was a little bit of desperation there that made me sad for her.
And, you know, like, being a pageant girl, part of being a pageant girl is being diplomatic.
Oh, yeah.
You know, when you get that kind of question as a pageant girl, you're not supposed to answer it in the shady way. You're supposed to answer it in the diplomatic way, but still get your point across that, like, well, I still think I'm better. This is why I think I'm better.
But even in, like, a workplace scenario, if you have a problem with someone, you don't just throw them under the bus and list all their negatives. You try and talk about the situation at hand. You don't try and nitpick and name call someone out. That's just rude.
And
their actions will speak for themselves. Yeah. You don't need to drag someone like that.
What was sad is I feel there's something that was said between Pearl and Kennedy, like, because Pearl was really hurt by what Pearl and Ginger. Pearl was really hurt by what Ginger said about, you know, that moment, like, oh, she wanted to walk out on this opportunity. And Pearl was like, you know exactly what was going on in that moment because you were the one I talked to the most about this. You knew exactly what was going on with me. Which Pearl still didn't, we didn't get details about Pearl.
But that's what I really like about Pearl and Violet.
She was like,
they don't air all of their laundry out for everybody to hear. Like, they know, they're having a real conversation.
It's true. I feel like the show edited out some of those details. I think it was part of the editing to make it obvious who was going home. Because the only one that we got really personal details about was Kennedy talking about her family. And I thought it was actually really sweet. She was like, my dad was like a cheerleader for me, came to my shows. Her dad came to her drag shows. That is like,
I thought that was really touching because you never hear about someone's dad.
Not broke my heart, but it like really, it like filled my heart 3 times, like the Grinch on Christmas. Like, because I was just like, that is like the sweetest thing I've ever heard. Like, she had real support from her dad in this, and that's very difficult to come by. It's always a big thing for most of these queens to be like, like, my dad was never down with this. It was, like, their mom, even, it hurts more when their mom wasn't, but it's always, like, almost a guarantee that, like, their dad
no one
is
even,
not a part.
I feel like the father figure is usually a foregone conclusion. No one even brings it up.
And I was like, and Kennedy's dad was, like, at her shows, and Kennedy took over taking care of her younger sibling who is mentally disabled, and, like, she has a lot of weight to bear on her shoulders, so you can feel, I felt like a lot of her shade throughout the season, it really put it in perspective for me, because I felt like, every day she is, like, she said it before, like, how hard it is to do this as a career, and how hard she has to work to pay her bills, and still do this, what she loves and everything, and I just feel like, because she works so hard every day, that seeing other people for whom it's easier than it is for her, like for Violet and Pearl, it looks like it's so much easier for them to do this than it is for her, so she's a little bit more critical of them when they kind of get sassy, or they don't take something, or they're having fun while they're working. It's like, she's like, oh no, I have to work really hard, you should work as hard as I have to work to get where you are. I felt like there's a little bit of that in it, because
I always got that impression from Kennedy, was that she was everything that she had.
She busted her butt to work.
And that's not to say that that doesn't apply to any of the other queens, but I feel like she's been the most vocal about it. So I always feel like I understood her point of view. With Ginger, I feel like she's flip-flopped a little bit.
A little bit.
And that's why I had the biggest problem with Ginger's speech, because the way that she ended it saying, like, oh, if everyone in America wants to, like, supersize everything, why don't you supersize your drag queen? Just say that. That's all you need to say. I feel like that encapsulates your entire drag persona. You're funny, you're smart, you're quick-witted, you can sing, you don't need to say anything else. That's all you needed to say. That's what I thought. I thought that she totally chopped herself off at the knees, just pointing out specific, like, kissing Kennedy's ass. I wanted to die.
And then the whole Untucked was, like, it took her the whole episode of Untucked before she finally just admitted, it was shady.
It was shady, and I did it because I'm desperate to win. Straight up. And that was what it reeked of, was desperation.
It was like, that was an epic, like, emotionally epic.
With Kennedy, it kind of almost felt like she was just kind of, like, unloading everything she's already been bitching about all season, and it kind of came together in one long stream of consciousness. But I feel like Kennedy, she didn't apologize. She had said a majority, I mean, it might not have come out originally like that, but I feel like she's already made these points to Violet and Pearl before in the past, to their face. She's not scared. I'm not even scared. She's not intimidated to tell you what she thinks at all times.
And she's unapologetic about it,
and
which
I
is so
appreciate
refreshing.
that. Do not apologize. If that's how you fucking feel, that's how you feel. People can take it or leave it. And that's why I was so happy when Kennedy finally started clapping at Ginger and Untucked to get her to shut the fuck up. She's like, stop apologizing. You said it. It's done. You obviously wanted to say it. You said it.
And
Pearl's going to feel however she's going to feel about it.
Pearl's going to,
And that's why I feel like Pearl was also kind of more accepting with Kennedy, even though they kind of had, like, their moments together when they were paired up on a couple challenges where, like, they seemed to really actually enjoy each other's company. And I think and Kennedy comes right out and says it, is that was just her essentially coming around to respect Pearl and Violet doing drag their own way, and that it's new school. And that that's not who she is, but she respects their artistry and realizes that they have something that she doesn't, and they have something that...
Well, she has something that they
don't.
They don't,
and vice versa. Well, they can't fucking dance to save their lives. But that doesn't matter. So I appreciate that in Kennedy. With Ginger, it's like, I could never tell, like, do you not like them or do you like them? Because I feel like Kennedy's just been like, this is a fucking competition. I like all of you, but in the end, like, I'm here to win, and I'm here for me. And she's never made that a secret. And, like, with Ginger, I just can't tell. It's like you were saying, it's a little bit too much playing the game, to the point where you can't tell where the line is anymore.
Mm-hmm. Like, you can't deny her talent or skill, that she deserves to be there in the top 3, but you're also kind of like, how much of what we're seeing is, like, the real you, or is this the real you, just like a competitive, manipulative person? But I feel like there's a little more realness in Ginger that we see here and there, and that's why we get so confused when we see this, like, heavy manipulation at play, which I really feel is there.
The thing that bothers me is just, like, and this, I mean, I'm sure, I mean, this happens to women all the time. It's like that, we're sisters, we're friends, and then, like, backstab, backstab, backstab. And then not understanding why someone else is hurt. I don't get it. I understand Kennedy's unapologeticness of I will always tell you what I'm thinking, so it won't ever be a question, so we don't have to have this kind of conversation. And I almost feel like Violet and Kennedy have a lot more in common in their style of bluntness than Kennedy might even give Violet credit for. I think Violet kind of recognizes that because I can tell that she really admires Kennedy and knows that she's a really talented performer and that they're not the same kind of drag queen. I just don't know if Kennedy sees it.
Yeah,
there's just something about their bluntness, especially when they're just talking, the two of them in Untucked.
That was like, so funny because
it was like the most matter-of-fact conversation you've ever heard.
You could see that whole they've come to understand each other. They're getting over the hump. They come to realize each other's beauty and strength. It's like they had the full completion of the circle in their conversation. Then cut to outside, where the circle just keeps spinning in the same little spot, but not ever complete. It's weird. It was just they were just spinning in circles, but not completing a big story circle because they were having the same exact conversation over and over again.
Pearl just wanted to move on and not talk about it, and Ginger just wanted to apologize and get back on her good side. And so, yeah, it was obviously two people with two very different points of view coming at a situation from completely different angles.
Yeah, that really was a rough spot, as Ginger once said in a song. But oh my God, there was just so it was a full story today. I'm I cannot wait for the finale now. But we should at least go over what the challenges were that they had to do this time, because it's exactly what you do when they get to the final four, final three in every season. There's a music video challenge, there's an acting challenge, and they have to play multiple characters. And the music video challenge was because the episode was called "And the Rest Is Drag," which is actually
line from
the song "Born Naked." Which is kind of RuPaul's philosophy, is that we're all born naked and the rest is drag. Mm-hmm. And so they were doing the music video of Born Naked, and really Kennedy was the only one with a good dance performance who kept it all together the entire way through. And it was, that's the sad thing, is because not being eliminated means you're eliminated from the video, which means the best dancer is now eliminated from the video. That seems really not right. I'm almost can we petition them to keep Kennedy in the video?
Yeah, just at least that part.
Really,
I'm okay with her being eliminated,
but she needs to stay in that video.
Please,
she needs to be in it. I have a feeling. I just have to feel that RuPaul's gonna be oh, okay,
we'll leave the dancing in.
We'll just cut off a little bit more of Pearl and Violet's dancing.
Oh, please.
But they kind of
leave in Pearl and Violet's acting in the beginning. But just cut out all of Kennedy's acting, and just leave all of Kennedy's dancing, and that's okay.
Yeah, see, that could work.
It balances all out.
Because they made it look like Violet's dancing was worse than it was from before it was done. They were oh, I think we got something from it. But then when it came together,
extra shady today.
Oh my God! And she was oh, so I'm really going for an '80s kind of, was a Pat Benatar feel.
Cheryl
Teagues, and she was, and so then Violet's I was born in 1992. She's that's no excuse. I'm wait, how is that not an excuse? She was born after the show ended, and nobody cared about it anymore, so it wasn't really on TV that much. How is she supposed? Was she supposed to research your inspirations, Candy Cane? I don't think that's how it works. You got to just give a little more direction, other than a reference that they don't get. It's oh, well, no, that is an excuse actually for her not understanding the reference that you're using. You need to find, as the choreographer, another reference that works for everyone you're teaching these moves to, so that they get it. Because your goal is to teach them how to do it, and using just 80s references that people who were not born in the 80s and don't know anything about the 80s will not understand is not effectively teaching anybody. Obviously, Kennedy and Ginger get it, but I thought it was hilarious and Untucked when Violet was oh, if I was in the 50s or 60s, I would do pageants. They're girl, how old do you think we are? We're in our 30s, for God's sake. We were doing not even, maybe more than their 30s, but no, they are in their 30s. But she was the pageant scene started for drag in 78, honey. I think it might have been a little earlier than that. We've seen the videos of the bathhouses. There's, hello, drag queen started Stonewall.
I think that,
but nonetheless,
I think that Violet was referencing traditional
beauty pageants. I feel that's what she meant, but it was still funny because they were. It was
also another giant misunderstanding.
It was pretty entertaining. But yes, I'm like, because Violet didn't want it. She's like, I don't want to do pageants. Like, that's never what I want to do. I think we should support each other. I don't think artists should compete, and I think we're artists. And that's a valid perspective. And at least they showed it in the acting. I was surprised by Pearl's acting again.
I thought she actually did a really good job.
Obviously, Violet's like, Pearl's doing the best at this, like, pill-popping, boozy mom. Like, I wonder what that's about. Like,
I mean, I liked all of Pearl's performances. I actually liked Pearl as like the dramatic teen
the best.
I thought that she actually nailed that role the best. I thought that Violet did the best as like the boozy drunk mom.
Yeah.
And I thought Ginger did the best as like the weird little kid. The weird little sister, whatever. The
little baby sister that gets the mashed potatoes thrown in her face.
There we go. Yeah.
RuPaul is the like drunk on beer, like
dad.
Grizzled, like bearded old dad.
Look like Sanford and Son.
Yes, that's it.
Yeah, I almost didn't recognize him. I was like, what? Oh my god.
It's funny because RuPaul used to always be RuPaul.
Mm-hmm.
You know, in drag in these acting challenges in the earlier seasons, and I think it's like in the last couple seasons, it's been RuPaul as a man and like male drag for these challenges, which is like this trend toward male drag working itself into the show was really prevalent this season, and it showed itself again in the acting scene. It wasn't my favorite of all the acting scene scripts that we've done. I thought last season's and season 5's were actually the best ones so far of all the seasons, but this one was still entertaining. I just love anything that's set in the South. It just gives you so much to work with. I would have wanted to play the mom if I was in that scene.
Same.
I'm like, I don't want to do the teen. I already went through that phase. I'm over it. The screaming and throwing things phase, that's done. But pill-popping, boozy mom, that's my future. Like,
it's true.
I just think that would have suited me best. But, you know, obviously Kennedy was just like one note through all of those. It was kind of sad. Because they were like, oh, Kennedy's problem is like her short-term memory loss.
Oh my gosh.
Because she was like, oh, hold up the CD and like,
yeah,
really
I know,
pitch
that
the
was
CD.
so
And she's like,
awkward.
and it was like, how many seconds where she's like,
too long.
So pick up the CD.
And then when she did pick it up, she like held it like basically over her face. I'm like, girl, come on.
Oh my god, do you not know how to do this?
Frame over so your face cheetah. Never mind. I don't need to tell you this. You should know it.
Yeah, we saw it happen. That was unfortunate. Everyone else got it.
Oh, yeah. Well, the runway. We should talk about runway looks.
Yes,
because we didn't see the final video. We won't see the final video until next week because there's no episode next week.
Bitches.
So we got to see pretty much like a highlight reel of their dance moves and all of their acting in the various roles, which I think is the easiest way to tell like that Kennedy was fucking one note because you cut between all three characters and there's Kennedy.
You just changed the outfit.
Ow! You want to be American? You want to be RuPaul's next drag superstar? I
feel like Kennedy woke up just a little too late, but she finally woke up this episode.
She was super funny, like doing her Pearl Smash, not Hulk
the Pearl Smash.
Pearl Smash. Like
even like Violet was saying it, they were like all united and like, oh god.
I know. I was like, again. I didn't know this is the thing.
I'm like, I have seen those moves before. That like, oh.
I personally feel like she looks like a spooky witch. But that's just me. She looks like she's possessed. Like she reminds me of Bette Midler in Hocus Pocus.
Yes, especially with that hairdo. I mean, even though it was blonde, I love that she was kind of talking a little trash. She was like, well, I guess the competition really is between Kennedy and Ginger for who has the biggest wig, because they were just more hairspray, rat it out, more hairspray, rat it out, and then they got Ginger's was like,
oh my
God. Is like twice the size of your head on top of your head, but then Pearl came out in that giant blonde wig that went halfway down to her
like
ass.
70s Studio 54.
Awesome.
It was amazing, and I liked her outfit. Even though my biggest critique is, as someone with tits, your tits don't, like, they're not up that high, and they're not that close together. Her boob cups were fucked up. That was all I could see. But, if she adjusted it, you could tell it was hand-sewn.
Yeah.
I would never want to do that.
Well, she said it was vintage.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she said it was vintage.
Maybe she tailored it to herself
Probably
or
vintage
something.
for Audrey Hepburn. Somebody
something with like... Still, the boobs were off, regardless.
Yeah, they
like,
were.
the centering of them, they were just not right. And that's all I could stare at. Luckily, her hair and that little bedazzled jewel piece...
Yeah.
Like, on the crown of her forehead, looked amazing. And I actually really enjoyed Pearl's little lip sync. I feel like she did something a little different than, like, her...
Oh, yeah, she actually slid toward the judges. They're like, hey, we saw something different. She knows when, at least, that she's got to do something different. That's a plus. And she was able to do it, finally. How did you feel about Violet's look? Because I loved the look.
I was gagging for her look. I thought it was super great.
And Ross, hello Ross, was I see the progression. It's like, I think you had this planned out.
I completely agree with
Ross. Build
Ross.
up to this outfit. Like, there's actually like a story being told with your drag that led to this look. And Michelle was like not having it. She was like, no, I don't think this is her best drag. And I don't, like, I'm like, I don't know. I still think I mean, I get what she means. Like, when you say, like, best drag, it's like, what is, like, your grandest drag outfit that you have? Like, that you can wear right now. You've got something that you've been saving for, like, the right moment. And I'm like, well, she planned it out. It just wasn't, like, the biggest, like, grand marshal of the Pride Parade.
To a certain extent, too, I can understand Michelle's comment, even though I disagree with it.
Yeah.
Is because Violet's turned out huge theatrical pieces for smaller challenges, and then she kind of turned out something that was like a little bit, I guess, more subtle than maybe what you're used to. But I thought it was beautiful. I thought it was very elegant. I thought it was also on trend. I loved her little bustier top. I thought her wig was great. Her makeup's always fabulous.
Yes.
So, I don't know. Violet and also Pearl, they both can wear literally anything. And they know what they're doing. They know how to style themselves. And I don't think that, for me, fashion-wise, they haven't really ever hit a false note. I covet all of their fashion
Other than
pieces.
the non-use of butt pads on the part of Pearl.
Oh, on the part of Pearl, when she wore that snakeskin onesie was that like, girl, your butt is really flat.
You need to pump that up.
Yeah,
more.
You got a boy butt. You got mom jean butt. It's not cute.
Yeah, no, don't want it.
But
I wasn't that thrilled with Ginger's.
A Ginger
dress.
seriously
It was beautiful,
looked like,
but you were right. It was
White Diamonds, Liz Taylor. It could not handle it. With the hair and like the necklace and the makeup, it was all too much.
But these have always brought me luck.
I
mean,
I feel like someone should have put Ginger in the back of like a
she should have
funeral
taken off
procession.
her earrings and handed them to somebody like to complete the commercial.
No, it's like, oh, I'm actually thinking of the Liz and Dick movie when Lindsay Lohan is dressed as White Diamonds Liz Taylor in a black car in a funeral procession. She's like, and she puts on her sunglasses and says something like, "Just take me to the bar," or something crazy. I was just getting that, and I did not like it. And by comparison, I thought that Ginger's look was the weakest. I thought Kennedy looked beautiful and very polished, that her dress was gorgeous. I thought it was very true to her. And I thought her big hair actually worked for her, whereas I thought that Ginger's big hair ate her up.
Yeah, a little bit. It
made her look like a puff ball. She looked like a fucking cotton ball.
A ginger cotton ball.
Well, yeah. Like, when you stick it in your ear and it's like a little bit bloody and you're like, ugh.
Oh, dear. Yes, I'm sure she's not gonna like hearing that about her wig, but nonetheless,
girl, come on.
It was interesting that the continuation of the lunch with RuPaul, because they always serves a Tic Tac or two for lunch, and it's really just an excuse to do the Tyra moment and drag some tears out of them. And like I said before, Kennedy was the only one we got personal details about. We got a little bit from Ginger. There is some mysterious tragedy in Pearl's past that like they are not going to reveal on this show, but they kept alluding to it, and I'm just like. Because when they came to the point where he's like, what would you tell your, like, this is you when you were 5, what would you tell your 5-year-old self now? And he was like, you're going to face, like, the most, like, difficult years of your life, and it's going to really suck, and, like, people are going to be staring at you from across the room, and you're not going to know why. It was such a cryptic remark, and I really want to know what that means, but obviously I don't want to pull the amateur sleuth move and go digging into that past. Mm-hmm. If she doesn't want to reveal it and the show agreed not to reveal it, it must have been pretty bad.
Yeah, I'm good. I don't want to know.
But it was just, like, bizarre that, like, they, like, because usually you get those details and you can tell like they made it very clear that Kennedy was going home by making Kennedy the only one who talked about her family very explicitly. And when we got to the runway, first of all, the pictures of them as kids was so adorable.
So cute. Oh my god.
And was,
such little babies. Little Kennedy.
I know. Lil Kennedy.
So cute. They were all super adorable kids.
Kennedy.
I also loved Violet in like a bee costume.
Yes.
So fucking cute.
And Violet stayed like consistent with her character, like, I tell you that you're awesome. Pretty much. It was like the gist of hers, like, well, that's how she got to be who she is. You can't knock any of them for how they came to be the amazing queens that they are. But I thought that was a really interesting way for Ru to get something, I think he was looking to see, like, how do they really react? I need to see, like, beyond just the drag that they put on, where's the human being under there, which is what he's always looking for, or she's always looking for. RuPaul's always looking for that touch of humanity beneath the character. And it was like very expedient, upfront, direct way, like, okay, we're gonna see who you really are by seeing you deal with this question right now and this image of yourself as a boy. It was a really interesting way to get a reaction out of them, to like help figure out who do I want to see in the finale. Okay, girl. Well, after the realness, the shade, the epic tragedy, the emotional upheaval, the love and hate revealed and healed and untucked, I am so thrilled for this finale, which I stupidly did not buy tickets for, which is actually like happening in LA right now at the Orpheum Theater.
Oh, it's in LA? I thought it was in Vegas.
No, this year they moved it to the Los Angeles Orpheum Theater, and it's a big, beautiful, like, classy theater. So I'm like, damn it, I really wanted to be there for that. But I give up. Well,
at least we can sleep well at night knowing that we predicted this final three.
I know. It was so right. My amateur sleuthing totally worked this year. I was so right. I mean, I'm wondering now if I kind of screwed that club, though. Because I was going to be like, okay, now we can't do this anymore. If anybody, actually tells them that we said that. Hopefully nobody
Stop talking
did.
about it.
It's almost as good as those, like, Vox writers who totally predicted the ending of Mad Men.
Oh, really?
Oh, you didn't see that article? Oh, my God, it was like, really creepy. We're like, oh, shit. Like, they literally predicted that the show would end with Dawn somehow pitching that Coca-Cola ad.
Huh.
And I'm like, they were so right. And I'm like, and I was so right that it was going to be Ginger, Violet, and Pearl in this finale. So I'm at least on that level.
You on that reality show level.
I am, and I cannot wait to see the finale. I can't wait to see what all the other queens are, because they always, kind of like the reunion finale show was kind of like really where everybody brings out their best drag.
That's what I thought.
Like, still think one of the ones that comes to mind instantly is Lanisha Sparks from season 5, when, like, she had the best, like, her and Detox in season 5 had, like, the best outfits for a reunion, I think, ever. The best ever. They were so, I'm like, oh, please, 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 there's got to be some, like, so many outfits that some of these people did not get to use that they are just dying to bring out on that stage, and I cannot wait to see.
Well, judging from Trixie's 1,400 suitcases, I know she does.
Oh my God. And that
the damn racket.
Like, why did you bring it back? Did you, like, leave it there the first time and, like, oh, yeah, I should have taken that?
But
maybe she'll come as Anne Frank and not tell anybody.
That would be amazing.
Oh, my God, please do it, because they forbid you to do it, and now you can really fuck them over for eliminating you twice. Do it! Do it, Trixie! I'm rooting for you. We were all rooting for you.
Who do you think's going to take the crown?
Oh,
who's going to snatch it?
I'm kind of feeling like our editor who was, like, Team Violet.
Feeling Violet?
I feel like there's a strong possibility. Ginger is obviously the front runner.
Uh-huh.
But I do feel like...
part of me just feels like she really fucked up a lot of her goodwill.
It feels like her arc is slightly going down as Violet's is getting up to equal hers. So it's like really between... I don't see Pearl winning. I would love to see Pearl at a club or at a theater doing, when she performs. I would love to see what kind of show she puts on. But I don't see her winning this show.
But I feel like...
But hey, a bronze medal in the Olympics of drag is nothing to turn your shaded nose up at.
I feel like she's come around so much and has gained so much experience, it can only make her drag that much better in the future. So to a certain extent, she's already won something.
She is, because I think she will be able to
for someone that just started a fucking year ago, can you just imagine? Oh, I'm just going to start this career, like, now, and then we'll just see. Oh my god, I'm on RuPaul's Drag Race. Holy shit! Now you're just gonna be on like this fucking roller coaster. I'm sure any drag queen would have loved to have gotten on Drag Race their first year out of the gate.
That happened. You know, what's funny is that's what happened with Sharon Needles.
Was it really only her first year?
Yes, that was her first time, and she at the time she was with Alaska. You know, everybody knows this now, but like Alaska tried out like every year and didn't get on, and they both applied again for season 4, and Sharon got on, and Alaska still didn't get on. And then the next season when Alaska was on and she got to the finale, she was also I was the only one who did the assignment by like saying what I thought of the other queens and why I'm better than them, but she didn't win. And the other queens that were in the finale did not do that. Even, was it Roxy that year? And that's a shock, because Roxy was a shady fucking bitch on her season during the season, in season 5. But it's interesting, like, is that supposed to, like, you know, I'm always taking these stupid little signs. Hey, my sleuthing worked once, maybe it'll work again.
What are you talking about once? It's like worked all season.
I'm trying to be humble here. Let me be humble.
Oh my god, stop humble bragging. It doesn't work.
Oh, damn. Motherfucker. But nonetheless, I was like, maybe that's a clue. Maybe I was like, is that going to work the same way for Ginger? Like the one who did the assignment correctly? Hey, the people who are the ones who bend the rules, not just follow them, or even though Alaska was super creative and actually did bend the rules a lot, in the time where it counted, she followed the rules and it did not win her the competition. Jinx went home with that title. So I'm like, maybe there's like, I feel like there's almost not an inside track, but I feel like Violet's got a really good shot at it.
And I have to say, for finally seeing Violet lip sync for her life, I was impressed. It was very theatrical. She didn't dance, but I feel like she commanded a lot of attention. But I feel like her drag in general does that because she's so stunning. And she just really knows how to dress herself and like bring a big presence without having to do too much.
Yeah. Like
arm movement.
I wonder if she'll do any of her silk aerial work, or they'll let her do any of that on the reunion finale.
That would be cool.
That would be really awesome.
I would be curious to see what her outfits look like for that.
Me too, because also she has like the long ponytail when she does this. She even like works in like the hair flipping, and it's like really amazing stuff. Like I think you can find it on YouTube. You should all totally look it up. I think Alyssa Edwards said that at the beginning, before this season even started, that like you should look up Violet's like videos of Violet's performances because they are freaking like to die for, like totally worth your time. So I'm like, but like I think since we're at the point where RuPaul is just basically combing over the whole season, we're going over everything and like how do we add this up and who has the most points kind of at the end when you add it all up. And if you do that, actually Violet has never been in the bottom 2.
I know, I keep bringing this up.
But that was Alaska also. Alaska was never in the bottom 2 and she didn't win. But Tyra Sanchez from season 2, never in the bottom 2, and won.
But everybody hates Tyra.
Yeah, but I've been watching that season again over, I have to commend that drag queen because she was really fishy, like totally gorgeous, and on the runway completely came alive, and she made her outfits. Those outfits were
so her and Violet have a lot more in common.
So there is something in common there. So there's the possibility that it could work for Violet in that way, where it was like,
Violet
the looks are so fierce,
dominates the runway.
Like you can't deny that power. It's like so entrancing that you can't deny that it's there, and you would like want to encourage her, but with a victory, really, to like see what else you can do. It didn't really work out so great for Tyra Sanchez after that season. She didn't quite propel herself forward, but I think the show got bigger after that, and she may have just been a little unlucky if she I don't know if she would have won in a later season.
It was almost kind of like a sense of bad timing.
Yeah, like who knows if she would have won later, but if she had, her career would have taken off even more. I think because she really is like stunning, so stunning. So I felt bad about always calling her the worst winner, which she kind of still is, but she still was like also the best looking winner I think ever of the show. Like the most fierce outfits. Because seriously, if you go back over again, like I can't even imagine how much time it took for you to put some of these outfits together, and that she had so many good ones that like she could save like each week was like another amazing thing. She almost never had a bad look. So like Violet has got that too. So I'm like, hey, it's like it's still a little bit of suspense as to who's going to win because there's a possibility for both. I feel that Violet does have a better shot now than we thought she would at the beginning of the season, obviously, since in those preview videos, she and Pearl were so like flase da, if you will. But hey, they both woke the fuck up. So
Yeah.
they proved us wrong. I'm happy to eat my words with a little barbecue sauce, please. Gotta make it a little spicy.
Tasty.
Shade and spice does a body good. Well, some bodies. It just makes me fat. But nonetheless, like I said, I think Violet. What do you think?
I think Violet too. I don't know. I bet a part of me wants Ginger to win because I feel how much she wants to win it. But also, I don't know. I take that back. I think I would want to split it between Violet and Pearl, honestly, to a certain extent.
Just to do the reverse of what Kennedy and Ginger hoped to have together.
Yeah, not so much to shade or slam Ginger anymore, but I really like. There's something about Pearl, and there's also something about Violet, and maybe it's because I'm younger, so maybe I relate to the two of them a little bit more. But there's something about their kind of drag that I just want to see more of. Pearl has just always been intriguing to me, even though I was I don't know if this is going to be any good. I can't tell. But I've just been continually surprised by her, and I feel like you said, almost I want her to keep feeling encouraged to keep doing it and pushing herself. But I feel like Violet is definitely the complete package in a lot of ways.
Mm-hmm.
The aerial silk work just kind of she's more than just a runway queen, if that's what you want to call her. I also love the fact that she puts all of her looks together, that she's so tactful and just like a fucking serial killer, zeroed in and very
she's also
focused.
Still herself and still she's learned in this season and learned really, as RuPaul said, maybe just
I think
not
Pearl
being with
brought it
other
up
people.
At the mirror when they were doing their makeup, and fucking Kennedy and Ginger were going in on Violet and relentless as they're just trying to get ready.
I know the moment you're talking about exactly.
And Pearl was like, if this was Violet day one, she would have turned around and been like, fuck you, fuck this, fuck that. And she just sat there and was like, okay, thank you, girls. I think I really understand where you're coming from. What the fuck? Who is that? And where is Violet? And what have you done?
Where is the Violet who said, I'm so jealous, I wish I had some fat to push together to make boobs?
And even that, to me, is not a malicious comment. And that's why...
It's just drag queen shade, but fun drag queen shade.
Have a lot of things in common where they just say what's on their mind, and people either take it the wrong way or they don't, or they know them well enough to know that they don't mean this to be a rude comment.
Hell, RuPaul.
But I just found it very ironic that Ginger was like, "Oh, Violet has the shortest temper I've ever seen." I was like, "Really? She does?" Because I haven't seen Violet have an outburst.
I have not seen that at all. I've seen her get a little loud when she gets a little heated, but not have a violent outburst ever.
No, she's not throwing shit.
But there are editors. There's probably
I know.
But it just seems hard to believe that they would have edited that out of the show.
Crazy dramatic, exactly.
They would never edit it out. Ever. They would be like, oh my god, this is fucking gold. We're gonna keep this. We're gonna work this in somehow. We got a whole story we can do with this. I felt like we would have seen more of it. Just like people was like, oh, Max is so bitchy and shit. And I'm like, I'm not really seeing that. When they said that about her, I'm like, where is that, Ginger? I think it was Ginger who said that.
Mm-hmm.
I could be wrong. We have to go back and review the tape. I love that moment in Untucked where Pearl's like, no, that is exactly what you said about me. Roll the tape. And then Untucked cuts immediately to that spot in the episode. I'm like,
where she throws Pearl immediately under the bus.
And
thanks, here comes
Pearl.
The bus. Here's Pearl's giant hair. There's Pearl going underneath the bus. Because Ginger just kicked her ass under it.
Thanks for the cue. I know exactly where to cut now.
Yeah, exactly. Praise be Pearl. But I don't know. I just really...
I understand what you mean, because that's why RuPaul has them there to begin with. They're still there.
I know that Ru loves a busted queen, and Pearl has been her passion project this whole season. I've seen it. Yeah. She's just pushed her and pushed her and pushed her and pushed her. And I feel like these last, maybe 4 episodes or so, Pearl has really, shown RuPaul, I heard you, I'm here, I'm doing everything I can. And I feel like she just, maybe I want to give it to Pearl because she's had the most growth.
And there's that, like you said, there's that je ne sais quoi. That indefinable something. There's that one thing that you can't quite perfectly define, but makes you intrigued and makes you want to see more, which is kind of what RuPaul said in the episode. It's she's got that. Like she said, you're a star.
There's just something about her.
There's something about you that, even if you think she doesn't do that well, I'm like, you know what? I still want to see more.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not done.
Because I think she's also a queen that's learning, and I think maybe that's what's so exciting about watching her drag.
She's been thinking about this character, like she said, since she was 10 years old.
Yeah.
Which is okay, traumatic childhood, created this female character on paper that you developed over years, and it wasn't until 10 years later that you really came out and did this character and made this your drag persona. And it's like, so this is like, you know, a labor of love for many years that she's put into this. Even though it's her first year, she's been conceiving this for a long time. So there's like a whole lifetime. And I think there's a lot
of there's a lot of thought behind her drag too, which makes you always forget that she's only been doing it for a year. Like, because the look is so put together, and like you can just tell like she has thought about this for a very long time. And I think that in the beginning, you could tell that she hadn't lived it for a very long time. But now I feel like I'm forgetting more and more that she's just new to the game. Because I feel like she's finally super comfortable as Pearl. So part of me wants to reward growth. But I do feel like Violet's the fucking total package.
I do think so. She could do the dance. And she actually is. She's funny when she's not trying to be funny. And she actually learned more how to perform, how to act. But even just the runway, like, seriously, all she has to do is put on a song and have, like, a parade of outfits. And she just has to, she creates characters just by coming out on a runway.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sorry, that, like I said, the corset moment was, like, the crowning look of the whole season, I think, really, for anyone.
Well, that was a complete character.
It was so astonishing. Like, she could even do it and still be alive. Like, the fact that you're alive, you won a gold medal for that, Violet. Like, I commend you for that. And at the same time, still being critical. And so in a way, I still felt it was critical of ancient, you know, images of what it was to be feminine. But at the same time, someone like, being proud of having the smallest waist in Drag Race history. Like, I don't know, maybe because I feel like I am still a 15-year-old in an older person's body. Like, I'm just like, I really love Violet's energy and persona on the runway. So I'm like, I would be happy if any of these three won.
Yeah.
I feel like it's really between Violet and Ginger, and I think we're with our editor on the Team Violet train. But we wouldn't be surprised. I don't know.
Part of me felt a little bit let down by Ginger this week.
That's the reason why. But like maybe when you add everything up, it's like kind of hard not to give it to her because she was so good so much of the time. But she was in the bottom more than anyone else too. You know, and Jinx Monsoon was she was in the bottom once before she lost, but she had a really great lip sync when she had to. But yeah, I feel like when you add it all up, like Ginger's got the most points. It just depends on which things you place more value on to try to figure out how everything balances out and how RuPaul's going to do it. And that is all in RuPaul's head right now.
Yeah.
Do I have to tickle it to make it come out, RuPaul, early?
Now, let's judge Michelle.
Michelle. Oh, I love it when she gets it and she just laughs it off. Clearly they got over that weird consternation they had at the beginning of the season where I'm
really glad. I want them together forever.
I know. It was like, I'm sensing.
I don't like it when Mom and Dad fight. It's
exactly. That's what it felt like. Mama and Mama are fighting.
I know. I'm not happy.
Heather has two angry mommies right now.
Sorry, Heather can't come to her play date because both of her mothers are mad.
I know. They're showing it on TV for everyone to see. But they clearly got over it. They
brilliant
podcast.
They're fine.
Kept going. So.
Bosom buddies for life.
Oh, so I guess that's all for this week. We just can't wait. It's going to be 2 friggin' weeks before we finally get to the finale. But, you know, I guess I can rewatch old seasons until then. And, of course, I can just go over all those old episodes of, like, The Ghost Inside My Child or Celebrity Ghost Stories if I get really bored. That's always there for me.
I have no words other than you can always follow the GAMbIT magazine on Twitter and find us at GAMBITmag.com where you can find Samira and I's wonderful TV reviews of this very own Drag Race show. Mm-hmm. Also movie reviews that we from time to time do.
We're going to be getting into that. We got a good one coming up.
Ooh, yes. We have it's not going to be written. It'll be another movie review podcast, but it'll be with us shady ladies.
Yes,
bringing the shade to the movies.
We'll have to bring it at least in print because for a few weeks I won't even be able to use my voice.
Oh yeah, you gotta go and ruin everything by getting your tonsils removed.
It's not my fault that all the shade is located in my tonsils. But trust me, it'll grow somewhere else in my body and it will be there forever. But right now it's troubling the tonsils, so they gotta go. But so there'll be a lot more written movie reviews then, I think. A lot of Netflix reviews because
this girl's going to have a lot of time.
I'm going to have a lot of time and a lot of medication.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe you'll get through. You'll probably start a lot of reviews. I don't know if you'll finish
and then they'll turn into avant-garde poetry by the end. Who knows what'll happen. And we'll see if George publishes them. Whatever they turn out to be. You can
always find us at GAMBITmag.com.
Of course. And of course on Twitter, I am at Samiraculous. And Miss Margot is at Mark She Wrote. You can also find us on Instagram. I'm at Samiracles. And Margot's, what is yours? Your Twitter?
Margot Go.
Margot, you always find a brilliant way to use your name. Love it.
I know.
But look for us in all these social media websites. I promise I won't unfriend you. Like in that movie, and I won't haunt your computer and try to kill you for laughing at my shitty pants.
Oh my god, you just spoiled that entire horrible movie.
Yeah, I'm glad. Well, the real point of that movie is really like...
Don't shit your pants.
Yeah, and, don't live your life on a computer.
Oh, really?
Yeah, well, partly. Or at least it's an examination of life in the computer age. Or life in the social media age. Whatever. There's going to be a lot of things coming this summer, and I really hope that you go to GAMbIT Magazine. And also, like I said before, you can find us on iTunes and on YouTube, both for free, to listen to this podcast if you want to while away the lonely hours of reruns all summer.
Yeah, and let's face it, work's not that interesting, and we're way more fun to spend time with.
Totally. So I'm going to say, for now, for the next 2 weeks, bye! I'm waving to you.